They were moderate Muslims, but they were moderate. They believe in living together. They believe in democracy. After the counter-revolution, some of them, unfortunately, went to terrorist groups. And we have them by name. And we know which party they were, and they were not even an Islamist party before. So this is when I mean hopeless. You have to give them hope for the future. This is what I meant in that. And we don't, of course, I don't like saying that because I'm Muslim, but we should never tie terrorists with our religion, because terrorism doesn't have a religion. Every religion had terrorist movement one day in history. So we shouldn't tie this to our religion. But hope is the most important thing we should give to our youth.
Your visit comes at a time
زيارتك تأتي في لحظة تركز فيها أمريكا في محاولة تحديد الاستجابة المناسبة للتهديدات في سوريا وبالأخص من تنظيم الدولة. هل زيارتك هنا إلى أمريكا تعطيك فكرة عن مقاربة قد ستكون مفيدة لنا في محاولتنا للتصدي لهذا التحدي في المستقبل؟
When I spoke with the officials here, we have to identify and see the real cause of those terrorist movements. When the Syrian people stood up against Bashar al-Assad, asking for freedom, dignity, you can go back and you can check, there weren't, all of them were youth asking for dignity and freedom, and there wasn't any terrorist movement. We said that from day one. If Bashar al-Assad doesn't find a solution in solving this problem, we will be facing terrorist movement, because the way how he was treating his people, killing his people, young people, if we don't find a solution, we will find terrorist groups that nobody can control. Now, it's important for people to understand how this thing started in Syria. They were asking for freedom, dignity. 15 kids or 12 kids in the age of 12, 13, 14 just wrote on the wall, "Leave Bashar al-Assad, you have to leave." They were put in jail. Some of them, their nails were taken off. And those are young boys and boys. Now, if you're gonna see your child being treated like that just because he did something small on the wall, and you forgive the regime, but you ask for your child to come back, and then after that few days, the regime start killing his own people, what do we all expect this atmosphere? What will this atmosphere create? It will create terrorist movements that we are facing now. Now, what I always say, and I also told that to the president, yes, it's important that we have to face terrorist movement. It's a threat to us and to all of us, to everybody. But we have to see what caused all this. And we have to make sure that if we're going to fight these groups, that these groups don't come back again. Because if you fight them and we leave the main reason, they'll come back again in the near future. So it is difficult, but we have to face two things. There is the regime that's killing his own people, and there is those terrorist groups. Unfortunately now, in Syria, there is terrorist groups and there's regime. People tend to forget those millions in the middle that demanded for their freedom, who are the important people, who we should all support in the future of Syria. This is how I see things in Syria.
And do you have a sense today that
هل لديك فكرة اليوم عن وجود إرادة واستراتيجية موحدة بدأت في الظهور للتعامل مع هذا الوضع؟
But I'll be honest with you, we shouldn't only be depending on America. Us, Arab countries, we should do our own work, and then we should ask the Americans if we need help to help us solve our problems. The problem that we've been saying, we've been always blaming the Americans. Yes, Americans, they have their mistakes. I have my point of view, something different point of view, but we have to depend on ourselves as well as Arab countries. We have the capability to be solid together, to be facing those terrorist movements, and also to be helping those population for their freedom. And then we can ask the help of America to help us in this. But there is a sense, yes, what I've been hearing from the officials here, that the regime in Syria lost legitimacy. They know that, and they are worried about terrorist movements. But we all forget that there are millions of people in the middle that are the people that we have to bet on and to help.
We asked members of the audience.
لقد طلبنا بعض من الحضور أن يكتبوا أسئلتهم ولدي بعض من هذه الأسئلة. إذا دعني أطرح هذه الأسئلة. أولهما يطرحها أحدهم من قطر. إذا كيف يمكن أن نعمل من أجل أن نخرج من التغطية السلبية ونظهر للعالم بأننا كأمة نحاول أن نحدث فرقا حسب رؤيتنا؟ ما هي السياسات الحكومية التي تسمح لنا بالقيام بهذا الأمر؟
There have been some negative things in the media about Qatar, and for me, honestly speaking, I don't have a problem when somebody criticizes me or criticizes our policy. We're fine with that, and we have friends that do that as well. But what hurts me sometimes is when you see something in the media which is not true about my country. Now, the way how we've been dealing, we don't have a response. We used to say, no, what they say is not true. Sorry for this language, it's rubbish, so we're not going to answer them. People know the policy of Qatar, which it's not true. People listen to the media and listen to read the newspaper. If we don't go and talk to the people and to show them what is the policy of my country, whether you agree or you don't agree, but I have to show you the policy of my country, and then you can judge. But if we give chance for others to write on our behalf, of course, you guys will believe what they say because we're not responding. But now, you know, as a Qatari student or somebody living here asking me this question, it's an important question, but we are doing everything now to make sure that our voices be listened by the media and by all our friends. Because I know that we have lots of friends. But they tell us, guys, we cannot help you if you don't help yourself. So this is what we're doing now. That's why I'm here. That's why I have to visit friends in Washington. That's why I'm meeting with media people. That's why I'm honored to be meeting faculty and students here to talk about our policy. At the end, we will disagree and we'll agree. But I want you to know from me and from our people what exactly that we're doing. Some things said in the media, negative. And as I said, I don't have any problem with it. But you have to listen to our voice. And then you can judge by yourself what people say about Qatar.
So the World Cup.
إذا كأس العالم في 2022.
Shameless plug for George. We have two of the great.
نحن لدينا برامج كرة القدم للرجال والنساء رائعة وهي الأفضل في أمريكا، لكن هذا ليس له علاقة بالسؤال. إذا هناك بعض الجدل بهذا الخصوص، لكن هذا الموضوع مهم جدا وأنتم تمضوا إلى الأمام خلال تقديم بلدكم للعالم. أولا أخبرنا ما الذي يعنيه كأس العالم بالنسبة لكم. ثانيا كيف تدافعون عن بلدكم ضد المزاعم المتعلقة بالغش للحصول على استضافة كأس العالم.
There's been lots of talks about the World Cup, about the World Cup happening in Qatar. Even former World Cups, why did they go to this country, didn't go to the other country? You know how important soccer is and sports is. We are very proud that we're going to be hosting the World Cup in 2022. I think the main reason that we were successful in hosting this World Cup is because, and we believe in that, is that this World Cup is for all the Arabs, not for Qatar. If it was for Qatar, we will not be successful. We said that this whole World Cup is for all the Arabs, and that's why we're successful. It's a big challenge. And those allegations, as I said, you know, I'm not going to just go and any person says anything about Qatar, I'm going to answer. There's a FIFA, and they had people investigating and everything. They investigated with everybody, all the officials that we have in Qatar, and they found out that there was nothing about Qatar. Now, it's bad to say that the race was between Qatar and America to host the World Cup 2022. And I know that you guys, people here, were very upset that how come this small country can beat this great country. But I think you should be, you're all sportive, you should believe that, you know, you can lose sometimes. And you shouldn't stand. No, serious. And there's something, I don't know if it's polite to say or something, after winning the World Cup, when I was waiting to host, to welcome the delegation, I was at the airport. So one guy came to me and asked me, he said, President Obama said that the World Cup shouldn't go to Qatar, should go to America. I don't know if he said it or not. My answer was, what was my answer? Yeah, God forgive him for saying that. That was my answer. But I think, this World Cup is very important for our nation, and you guys should support it, because you don't know how important that this World Cup brought all the Arab together. If you see children from Libya, from Egypt, from all around the Arab world crying because we won the World Cup. And the same thing as a Qatari will do if any other nation will win the World Cup. So it's very important for us.
And the plans are proceeding?
ما هي الخطوات المستقبلية؟
So here's the third question.
سؤالي الثالث، باعتبار العلاقات مع مجلس التعاون الخليجي والصراع مع مصر، تعرضت قطر لانتقادات بشأن التدخل في شؤون دول عربية أخرى. ما هو دور قطر بالنسبة لك في منطقة الخليج وفي المنطقة العربية برمتها؟
This question has been asked to me many times. We had different views on Egypt. We all agree that Egypt is an important country. Egypt should be stable, and it's not up to me or up to the Americans or up to the GCC who chooses who runs Egypt. The people of Egypt are responsible of choosing their president. Now, there is a government there. We have differences with them, but we all agree that this government has to be stable. Now, instead of asking help from outside, I always say that this government should help itself before. Then we can help the Egyptians. But my policy is to make sure if there's anything that I can help to stabilize situation in Egypt, I will do so. We had differences between Qatar and some GCC countries concerning our approach to Egypt. We don't interfere in Egypt. We never interfered in Egypt. But what we did is when a government was elected, we stood by the government. And what happened in 30th of June, we believe it was wrong, and it could have done in another way. They could have done another election, but the way how it happened was wrong. Now, this is the past. Now, we should look in the future now. What will this government do? At the end, we are there. If there's any help that we can do, we will be happy to help. And no, it's our duty to help, actually.
So we know where your last stop in Washington.
نعرف أن محطة توقفكم الأخيرة في واشنطن، وهذا سيكون السؤال الأخير في هذه الجلسة. أولا، أنا أشكرك لدعم اللغة العربية في كافة برامجنا. ما هي رؤيتكم فيما يتعلق بالتعليم والتبادل الثقافي في قطر؟ ما هو دور تعليم اللغة العربية؟ ما الذي تودون من الطلاب الأمريكيين يتعلموه بشأن الثقافة القطرية؟
First of all, anything that will support Arab language, I'm always the first one to be supportive. So we will always be happy to support this great language. What do I want people to learn about my culture? Well, my culture is among a culture of the Arab Peninsula. It's a great culture, and by learning the language, you will understand the culture more. Talking about Arabic, Mr. President, something very important that I personally worked on with my staff in Doha. We had some classes in schools and universities that were taught in English. And I said that we have a great language, and it's a very important language. There are good examples around the world that they teach everything in their language. So why don't we do it in Arabic? There was a big debate, but we're successful now. All the language, all the classes are taught in Arabic. So this is how I look into my Arabic language. It's very important, and we hope if there's anything that we can add and help for people, American people, to learn this language, we'll be happy to do so.
Thank you.
أشكرك.
So that was our last question.
هذا كان السؤال الأخير، وأشكرك على حضورك معنا هنا اليوم، ونتمنى لك الأفضل بما يتعلق بزيارتك لأمريكا. وأود أن أعبر عن امتناني لكافة الحضور هنا لحضورهم لهذا الحوار، وأنا ممتن مجددا لحضوركم، وأطلب من حضورنا القطريين المغادرة حاليا، وأشكركم مجددا على حضوركم. أشكرك.